Welcome, gamers, to the Rally Cry halftime show. So I feel like we got a show already in that last match. I know going into it, we knew there was going to be a little bit of chaos, a little bit of silliness, Kangas, with all the ensuing circumstances. Yep. But hey, it makes things interesting on our end.
Shoutouts to Will for still doing the most damage, despite being the jungler playing in the bot lane. And also shout out to Niles for landing like every single shock blast. Yeah. Also, again, Scary Jared playing this Zeri pick like a poke champ. It just was oppressive for AOE to deal with.
They did a really good job identifying what their win conditions were in a lot of the fights. And, I mean, the fact that Niles was completely untested up in the top lane, got to lane for free, and then just put out the shock blast and his accuracy with them really allowed Maryville to take a lot of these fights super cleanly and efficiently. But as we were saying before, I don't think this was the recipe for success for AOE. They tried to come up with something a little bit cheesy, something a little bit different, and while it had some success early on in the game, they weren't able to carry it through. They weren't able to build up a lead to snowball with.
I was okay with it up to an extent. I still feel like the third Dragon Force was a little much. I like the idea of taking the early Dragons as a way to delay the game, not as a, oh, let's force our own soul rush and try and win that way. I think that they needed a little bit more time to scale.
I think, too, it was just going to be rough regardless for AOE coming into it. I mean, it's like you're telling them to make a cake, but you took away their oven and half their ingredients, right? So they tried their best. There was definitely a couple of moments that it was like, oh, yo, like, Will with the double kill and a shutdown? Like, okay, what is this? But you ultimately, you know, at the end, you got to the end of the recipe cooking and it was just you threw it out. But hey, it is what it is. Congratulations.
Final step of baking the cake. Open the trash.
Smearing it on
I mean, hey, if you don't have the sugar or something to throw in the cake, I mean, you might as well. Yeah. But hey,
see, my birthday's coming up soon. What kind of cake are you making me?
Well, what's your favorite fruit?
Ooh, mangoes.
Mango it is.
Mango cake.
There we go. There's a story here. I don't know if you've seen it yet on Twitter, but we do have our, the best performing player that we did have in Game 1. It is Niles once again. I think he might be the player with the most MVP nods for the game that we've had so far in Summer Split, as this is the second time I've seen him already. But again, looking fantastic on the Jays, absolutely destroying a ton of these fights and making them unplayable before they even happen.
High damage percentage, crazy damage per minute as well, only dying once throughout the entire game.
And that was not even to an enemy champion.
You can feel... Wait a minute, you're right. I forgot about that. You could feel how much he was doing before fights even happened. When the fights broke out, everyone on AOE was already half health. Specifically Breezy and Will. He had a magnet attached to them, and he was shooting lead. And Niles absolutely deserving of this.
Certified good at the video game, so congratulations over there on another MVP nod going into it. But hey, as we are getting our next game ready and giving our players a little bit of a rest, we do have a halftime bit. So me and Joshi talked about this, Kangas, while you were gone, but for today, I was making coffee. Yeah, get that energy, because we're going to be doing some forced debates. So I'm going to be giving a prompt, and I'm going to have one of you take the affirmative, one take the negative.
Are we flipping a coin, or how does that happen?
What? Flip a coin?
Are we flipping a coin for which side we get?
You can debate beforehand, and if you can't decide, well, then I will ultimately, do one. Okay,
real quick, because I was gone making coffee, as we just established. Is Lynx back for Game 2, or do we still have the same roster?
It is going to be the same roster going into Game 2, but
they get their bans.
Notably, they do get their bans.
Okay,
so because Acadian is as a sub now as opposed to merged sub, so they get their bans. So that'll be something for them going forward. But hey, it'll be interesting to see. So hey, well, as our first debate topic then on that, since we know that it's going to be the role swap and it's going to be Acadian coming into this, we'll talk about who we think is going to be taking this second game, whether it's going to be Maryville continuing as strong in this and taking their second win of the day, or if it's going to be AOE with all the craziness going on, pulling out this win. Who wants which side?
Steve, who do you want?
Oh, I get a pick?
I'll let you pick this one.
Okay. Give me AOE. I'll take the hard one.
Okay. AOE. All right. And then first off, before you start, y'all started today's broadcast saying that you were going to be pulling out the chaos and the shenanigans. So I'm deciding to throw that right back to you. So not only do you have to debate, But there's going to be a little bit of a twist that you have to be doing while you're debating. So Joshi, you're very eager to go, and I think that you have the easier selection in this. So for your debate, you do have to talk like a pirate.
Oh. Yar, mateys, as we start taking a look at all these landlubbers coming out from the area of effect scallywags, it's going to be yet another sweet hair victory for the Maryville Pirates. Coming
You
through
get like a
from
pirate,
St. Louis.
like an eye patch over him? real quick?
This is a very modern take on a pirate as well. We are using 2 eye patches today. But as we do have Maryville coming through, it is going to be even more of the same. The big thing for Maryville we got to see on Orange has been the captain of the ship this entire time, going from lane to lane and taking down anybody who tries to come down for their booty. And the only big question is going to be, is which of his 3 shipmates is he going to make the strongest? He's got Knowledge up in the top lane, who has been a boss at the team fights. Get back, finding so many different picks, and a sharpshooter every single time with the cannons. And of course, Scary Jerry and Zyko coming in big later on in the game, making sure they can go for these sweet boarding action.
Can I feed him things? Can I feed him information? Say, get back's a siren, the way that he like
Get
lured
back to
Breezy in with the
the
charm.
way that he lures everybody through, just like Charybdis and
Niles
everything.
is the
from
cannon.
Aegis.
He's the cannoneer. He's shooting out the other
I
ships.
already said that Get Back was the cannoneer.
Oh, yeah, but it's Niles. He had the big
They
gun.
can both be cannoneers. They both have these big guns. They just do very different things with them.
Zyko was present. He's like the parrot. He's like the parrot on the...
I like how you're debating him on
shoulder.
how he's doing his debate right now. It's like debate meta.
No,
over
this is the
here.
mental game. This is how I get in his head, you know, and mess him up even more.
Josh, I have to say as well, your pirate voice, I mean, at some points it kind of sounded like old man sitting on the porch, but like other than that, like a
Back in my day.
All right,
Is it my turn to go?
Kangas, it is your turn. And for yours, you are going to do, you're going to be nervous. Like, you know, you have to debate about AOE, about AOE having a win. Because AOE, they're all standing on the side, ready to absolutely beat you up in the quote retweets if you're not selling this. Like, if we are not 100% believing, like, they're ready. They're staring you down right here.
Well, hey. Guys, it's a tough game, okay? You know, I get it. I get it. But it's gonna be okay. We can bring it back. You know, it's this time, Will, you're going to get more than 2 items by the end of the game, okay? You're going to look at those waves,
3?
and when you see the waves, you're going to walk up and you're going to hit them. You're going to click your buttons on the waves. You're going to get all the gold and stuff from that. I know you're not used to that. It's asking a lot for junglers to actually try and CS, but, you know, we're going to need to
You
step
do not
up
look
there.
stressed right now, Kangas. You look.
Don't
you
look stressed. Do we
look
need
stressed.
to
Acadian!
threaten you a little bit more?
Acadian! No more flash engages, man. Or if you do, at least do it after your teams no longer have health, or before your teams have health, I suppose, is the way to put that. I don't know. I'm nervous. I'm messing up my words.
You just have to-
This is all part of the bit. It's all intentional.
Dude,
Um,
it sounds like how I
concept-
ask people to prom.
Do I have postcards or anything? I want to do like the prom, like asking out thing now. Right? Like you just have the words written on there.
He's
Concept,
just like,
don't
I
know,
hear
play
your
Malphite?
prompt, I hear what I have to do, and I just do not care, simply.
I'm looking for props around my room. I can't find anything. I don't know. Do I have to keep this going? All right.
Just-
So
No,
more
we're-
nervous.
Just imagine
we're-
Concept is standing on the other side of your monitor with a bat.
All right. Cassante again. Chill out.
I mean,
That's all I
you're
got.
not
I don't know.
going to be
I don't know where to
nervous.
go
Like,
with that
you just
one.
like, okay, like I don't know, like you don't look scared for your life whatsoever over here.
I'm not gonna lie, Sierra. I've been spending the last 5 years of my life faking confidence, and now I don't know how to do the other thing on camera anymore. So this is all you got, okay?
Literally
This is
fake it till you make it, and now we just got Mr. Confident over here. Can't. I'm probably nervous. It's okay.
Maybe
it's
that'll
okay.
be my next next
Maybe-
character bit that I'll work on is nervous kiss or something. You know?
I'm gonna have to say
We're gonna
in
come up with
this.
a better name for that one.
It's true. I will say in this forced debate, I'm sorry, Kangas, you got
that's fair.
absolutely.
That's
You're
fair.
getting destroyed in the quote retweets, and you got destroyed by Joshi in this one. So I apologize for that one. But hey, hopefully in our next game, we still have that around the corner. I'm hoping that AOE doesn't get destroyed here. I'm hoping too, since they got their bans, Kangas, that we can see some good stuff here.
Yeah, what are they going to be? Probably Jace, I imagine. If you're
Probably
AOE
Yuumi.
after that last game, try to take that off the table. I think a big problem was just the range that they were dealing with. They couldn't really get into the fights until they were already half health. So taking away some of those options could be pretty big for them.
Yeah. Honestly, also taking away the Passenger Princess and the Yuumi will be really good for them too, right? There's a lot of things that will really limit a lot of the effectiveness of Maryville's bottom lane if they don't just have the best supports on the patch.
A bit of a different game ahead of us with the fact that fans are on the table. So our draft is ready. Let's see how this one goes down into our game 2. Take it away, you two.
Thank you, Sierra. Josh, how do I act nervous on broadcast? Can you give me an example? Can you?
I think the big thing is, you sit there and you look at where you're expecting somebody to be hitting that. Because it's supposed to be like, the way that you wanted to do it is you're scared for your life, right? As AOE are riding the other side. And if you say something wrong...
I think I was going coy.
I think they're,
timid
you guys are doing well. Yes, that's what we're looking for. We need you guys to have a stronger, early game. Yes, we need to have a stronger early game. There you go. No,
all right.
Late game.
Well, Joshi's winning on 2 fronts then. He also corrected mine, so congratulations, Joshi. We all know that you're the one that carried the improv segments that we did last year. Maryville on the blue side now up against AOE. They do have their bans, and they're taking away the Zera. They're taking away the Vi to start things off.
Yeah, I already like this a lot better coming through from AOE, and the big thing I really want to see as a transition from what we saw in Game 1 from this squad is what we've already talked about. They're big playmakers. Darkwings, Will, and Breezy were all on the most beta picks I could possibly imagine. Not a single one of them was able to go forward. We need to see some alpha energy coming out from AOE this time around, and with the opportunity to go for some of these counter picks, they should be much more willing to go for aggressive plays early on. But yeah, we are seeing the opportunity for a trade of these two supports. We have seen some discussion about this online. I know you got some fun quotes coming through as well from some of the coaches. Looks like AOE, once again, willing to make that trade on both sides of the map.
Yeah, shout-outs to, of course, Fear's coach, who explained to me the reason for banning Emilio and Yuumi on blue side, if you need to. But it's not banned on either side this time around, so we get the handshake. Maryville will lock in that Emilio, opting in for this instead of the Yuumi. Now, will Breezy play Yuumi with Will? That's the question, because if you don't have a player who's an 80 carry main, is it actually worth it to take it?
Well, the thing about the Yuumi is, while we are most used to seeing it on something like Zeri, people forget that some of the best champions that this character pairs with are actually things like the Aatrox and the Hecarim, right? And while AOE are going for some of their more unusual opportunities, a couple of the different things that they were trying before, we are going to be looking for AOE to have an opportunity to do even more. I also want to say hello and welcome to everybody coming in from Europe. Hope you guys had good games over there today. I caught a little bit of Karzi going crazy, but we do have the Yuumi coming through, and now we have... the Homie Hopper yet again joining us for this game.
A reminder for anybody joining us from the LEC raid that we do have a bit of a chaotic start to the day. AOE, their jungler Will, player prospect in North America that we're very excited to follow the story of. We call him Summer Child, as he only plays Summer Split, recently graduating from school to unlock that Spring Split potential now. But he has to roll swap to 80 carry because the 80 carry lost power earlier today. So Acadian's back in, coach jungler, and they did drop game number 1. Very interesting draft. Maryville University, the collegiate representative in the tournament, were able to pick that one up. And now they like an Ahri with a Felio, so Felios Emilio combo, and Will is back on the Ezreal. He did have one Ezreal game on his solo queue account when you were checking earlier.
He did, and I want to confirm, yes, it is the one marksman game that he did win on his account
win
before.
rate, baby.
So 100% win rate. I think this is going to be a good opportunity for Will to kind of strut his stuff, right? A lot of junglers. I use Mark as my benchmark to speak for every jungler. Love playing the Ezreal jungler, right? And we will see what it is that they can do. There's a lot of opportunities for Ezreal to be very aggressive. And as we start taking a look at this upcoming rest of the draft, the big thing for AOE is it looks like they're going a little bit more traditional in the things that we are seeing from concept. Very likely to be playing this Gragas up in the top lane. And the big question for us is, what is Acadian going to be pushed to, right? He was playing a lot of the Wukong, a lot of the Vi, a lot of the Sejuani last time around, and these are already taken off the table. After that, his most played was the Viego.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I'm trying, going back to last year to remember what Acadian was really playing back
Wukong,
then.
Viego, Trundle, Jarvan.
Oh, well, I don't think Trundle,
no,
Jarvan are going to be as popular.
Jarvan's playable.
Okay, Viego is up, so maybe they do just go towards that. Something that Acadian is comfortable on. Obviously, they want to. I would expect that they're going to really prioritize just comfort for their coach, who presumably has not been playing many scrim games or grinding as much solo queue as he might have done in his past.
Yeah. Also, another great homie for Yuumi to hop to, right? You have another opportunity to start going for all these different resets, but a character. Ooh.
Speaking of hopping.
Ooh. I actually wonder if this is an opportunity for Will to be going back into the jungle, right? This is not a champion I typically associate with Acadian throughout his history, but it is something that Will has shown a willingness to play, and so far there are 4 very squishy champions coming out on the side of Maryville already. This is a fantastic opportunity for whoever ends up jungling here for AOE to pop off and take down all of these different champions over the course of the game. But big question that we have now is, as Maryville cycles through everything that Niles has played throughout the course of their history, what are they going to be playing, and are they actually going to be throwing the Gragas up into the top lane? We have seen Darkwings play it so far this year.
Yeah, I mean, it is still flexible technically, but with that Ornn locked in, I mean, like, what are the big top laners that hard punish an Ornn lane? It's so hard to actually do enough that you make the Ornn irrelevant in the game. So maybe you do just take the handshake and you go for mid lane counter instead. Try and get something that can outrange the Ahri, something that can scale into the Ahri most likely. Syndra, Azir, both 2 options. It could work, but Darkwing's going back to his signature Azir pick, a champion that he has made a lot of his reputation on. Is his name actually named after Azir? I don't know. Have we asked him that before? Dark Wings?
I thought it was after Darkwing Duck, but I don't think I've ever actually asked.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm not sure. I just know when I hear Dark Wings, it's synonymous, in my head at least, with Azir gameplay. I know he does love this champion.
Yeah. He was definitely a player that had some of the really big highlights on Azir last year. Most famously, going for a ton of scoops on a variety of different players and some brilliant base defenses as well. But now, coming out into this one, that is looking like it is going to be Acadian playing the Bug here in the jungle and playing a little bit more of a chaotic style. One of the things that I love watching more dedicated Kha'Zix players do is look for all these opportunities to come in from off angles. It didn't look like Acadian was as comfortable doing that on the Wukong, and this is a character where you are required to do so.
In that last game, again, a reminder for everybody who didn't catch it the first time, Will is the jungler starting for AOE. He has to swap to play AD carry, and their coach is coming in to play the jungle role. In game 1, Vision was a mess for AOE. If we're being honest, there was very few moments where they had any kind of Vision priority set up earlier around objectives, and oftentimes their own jungle was lit up on their path in towards those objectives. Maryville much more comfortable with the ward setup. And Kha'Zix can't get hard punished by that. If they see a Kha'Zix, the Kha'Zix in Vision is the least threatening Kha'Zix in the game. The Kha'Zix that is the most threatening is the one that you have no idea where he is.
Yeah, the scene threat is the easiest to deal with, and now AOE are going to have to be looking for opportunities to really go for those plays. The one thing I do like is they are putting Darkwings and Concept on players or on characters that can have a little bit more proactive agency in the games. This was a big problem for them in game 1, and that it was Acadian, the player who had the most tools to actually get fights started. Now, Maryville, the one big fear I do have is the mid-jungle 2v2 coming up from Maryville is one of the ways that they were winning a lot of their collegiate games, again, off of Get Back. And Darkwings, who has not been the most impressive laner so far in this summer, is going to be really at risk of everything that Orange tries to do early on.
Okay, I was watching that fan vote, the Twitch chat predictions, wondering why is AOE at 100% after that last game? Now it's making a little bit more sense. All right, Maryville taking it back a little bit here.
Yeah. I love calling Maryville fans cows just because every single time they just type moo in chat.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that.
But this is one of the things that Niles has had a lot of success on in the past in the Ornn, right? Is by far his best tank that we've seen him play over the past several years. And going up against Concept, my only worry here is that Concept is definitely a player that is way better at playing all of these tanks throughout his history, because it is what he has specialized in throughout most of his time playing. You see him on things like the Mundo and the Scion in the past, where he can really become impossible to kill.
Yeah, that's where he made his reputation. Kind of miss his Singed days, personally. I was hoping we'd get some of that crazy stuff here, but no, he is just plain meta so far this split. not spoiling us with the fun shows here.
Yeah.
Mid lane, though, interesting to note, Darklings did get an early trade advantage onto Get Back and has taken the Conqueror on Azir. With the changes, you know, the Q poke damage being decreased, more of his damage going into his soldier auto attacks, I've seen a lot more lethal tempo, but I'm curious what your thoughts are on the Conqueror. Is this the correct way, or is this just an off-meta way to play it?
I mean, it's not off meta. I think that's too strong of a word, but it is definitely less popular these days just because it is the kind of game where you're expecting a lot of these fights to be going relatively quickly, and the Conqueror gives you a tiny bit of extra damage, but the lethal tempo will allow you to shred through Niles in ways that the Conqueror really won't. And so AOE, as I start setting up for this, I am really looking at how the Darklings will be able to position, because he wants to be a little bit more aggressive with all the squishy members, because otherwise he's just going to get out DPS by a lot of the Maryville roster.
You can also get maybe one shot.
Yes.
Exactly. With the Kha'Zix and the Ahri coming in, that's a pretty scary
That's a better way to
combo.
describe it. He's not going to get out DPS, right? It is Azir. He's going to be doing more damage, but it's a question of whether or not he will be able to do it in the burst that is necessary to stay alive.
Yeah. How realistic is it that he'll get many autos off with Conquerors at a lethal tempo? Well, speaking of auto attacks, Will's taking the brunt of many. As Scary Jerry just unleashed damage into him. They see Odd Orange with the ward in the Tri-Brush, so Will has to back. Use the heal as well. Rough start for the jungler. Roll swap into 80 carry for today.
This is also closer to what I was expecting coming out from Scary Jerry and Zyko than what we saw in Game 1, right? They were definitely feeling really good about their play in Game 1 and going super, super aggressive, but it was giving a lot of opportunities for Will and Breezy to turn things around. And if you're just looking for wins here in this series, I think the easiest way to do it is you just pressure Will and Breezy in ways that they cannot respond to, and denying a bunch of minions, getting them off of the wave, and creating a situation where they have total vision control for Maryville is a fantastic way to make Will and Breezy very uncomfortable.
In the last game, we saw Scary Jerry try to do that, maybe a little overconfidently as he was getting punished for it heavily, but the effort was still there. Azael has a saying, I forget exactly what it was, is, you know, don't blame the intent, you know, blame the execution. So intent was there, obviously, from Scary Jerry. Now getting ahead here as he gets the early back off. Acadian will help shove this wave in. They want Will to get a reset because otherwise the wave is in a really rough spot.
Oh.
But Scary Jerry can actually try and catch this. Maybe prevent it from even hitting the turret. Oh, this is a really rough spot for Will and Breezy.
Oh, no. And they might even get some of their backstop here as well. Zyko walking up.
Oh, can they get some damage in? Okay. Again for an okay. Will goes forward. First blood to Scary Jerry. Will gets one in reply, but that's a double to the Aphelios.
And this is a drastic change in fortunes from what we were seeing in the first game, right? Scary Jerry now with 2 kills here in the mid lane. The rest of his map doing just fine. And we get to see what he actually can really do. He has been such a strong player on things like this area historically, but now on the Aphelios, this is a character where you can try and do all those really aggressive moves that he was trying to do in his previous game. And as we're taking a look at this, it just looks like AOE, they're trying to bait opportunities for Maryville to bring Zyko forward all by themselves. And while they do pick up the 1 kill, and it does go over to the Yuumi, it is really unfortunate because they still have all the same problems. Their wave is still absolutely screwed, and they don't get the gold over to the 80 carry.
And it was interesting to see Breezy use Exhaust on Zyko there, trying to slow him, I guess, so Will can get in range. But then Scary Jerry can just, you know, free fire, and you know that you're giving 2 kills over to the Aphelios at that point. So, rough position for AOE. Let's see if they can turn it back around as they are falling further and further behind bot lane. They do look at the Dragon. This is now 2 games in a row where Acadian would be able to get them that first Dragon of the game, but Odd Orange looks to contest this time. Get back, coming on the flank. Darkwings is spotting that approach. But the bot lane is still pretty scary from Maryville to jump onto Acadian, who repositions, gets to get back. Darkwing shuffles in Zyko only, and the support gets it to safety. Still have the flash. That is Dragon stolen by Odd Orange.
And that's just it, right? Maryville come through. They bully the members of AOE off. They're not going to be getting pushed around. They know that they're the ones who have way more damage in these fights, especially if they can see where Acadian is. There's no opportunity for AOE to get much of anything done. And a free Dragon being gifted over to Maryville in this fight. Now, the only thing that we do really need to see from Maryville is to try and accelerate this game a little bit, right? What we were seeing in game 1, where Maryville had such a massive range advantage with Zeri's W and Jason's Shock Blast, is going to be kind of turned on its head, right? Darkwings will be outranging Get Back and Scary Jerry, and of course, Will, with that Q, will also be consistently outranging everything that Maryville can do. And so it's going to be on Maryville to try and get fights started before they are poked out.
Swap of the kind of expectations for what the rosters want to do, what the compositions want to do at least. Darkwings is getting a little bit of a health trade advantage on the Get Back, who doesn't have Flash from the earlier play. Flash is available for Darkwings, so there will be a window here where the Azir can look to make something happen, especially if the Kating comes around. But Odd Orange is actually going to make something happen first. Dragon's Rage available. They just get the shuffle out from Darkwings. And that's it. Yep. Wave will shove in. Get Back probably backs.
That's exactly what happens. That's when I'm like, Rafa, can you come through and just like show so I can get this wave pushed and get a back in? It's kind of what we're seeing from Acadian trying to do for his bottom lane before. This time a little bit more successful, as Get Back will be able to get that full reset off without having his wave screwed over. And now, as we start taking a look towards the bottom side, Scary Jerry is very rapidly moving towards that Kraken Slayer. Going to have a lot more damage to play with than Will and Breezy for the foreseeable future. And while there will be a small period where Will have the most damage possible on the map when he does finish that Trinity Force, we are a long way away from that at this point, Steve. And Scary Jerry and Zyko are probably going to get at least 2 more plays before Will is in a position to fight.
Maybe more, because Odd Orange is hovering the bot side. He's got the Dragon's Rage, and you can tell Odd Orange is looking to do something with it. Rough for Get Back to actually take another bad trade against Darkwings there. Right after his wave was fixed and he backed and healed up, he back to half health. But Odd Orange just go for a reset, not going to hard play bot lane. Meanwhile, Concept doing Concept things, proxying Niles a little bit here, showing his proficiency in this matchup.
Yeah. Kind of looking like Zamudo, not gonna lie, right? The way he just like walks up. We've already seen Zamudo have a ton of success in a lot of these plays, trying to make himself just even stronger. Here we go.
Moonlight Vigil from Fog of War. Will is able to jump away and actually doesn't take that much damage, all things considered. Still has Flash, still has heal.
Yeah. Scary Jerry does get the entire wave, and Will and Breezy forced to burn through even more of their mana to keep Will relatively healthy. And we can see, right, we saw that Scary Jerry was trying to do a lot of this style of play in the first game, and it didn't go particularly well for their squad, but now as he just continuously pressures Will and Breezy off the map, I mean, he's going to get the second play off this bot lane turret, and with Acadian on the far side of the map, they're completely free to keep on looking for fights.
And Odd Orange yet again goes in. Nice shuffle from Darkwings. Odd Orange did not look to Dragon's Rage kick, wanted to get out of there from the turret range as fast as possible. Darkwings almost pulls off the outplay, but Scary Jerry now, they see that the Herald goes down, can say, all right, well, Kha'Zix is topside then. I can just keep pushing this in. That's going to be a 3rd plate to Maryville's bot laner.
And Will already down 30 CS relatively early on in the game. That was one of the things that we were looking at last game, where Scary Jerry and Zyko way better at allocating farm to themselves than what we were seeing from the jungler turned temporary AD carry. The biggest point of strength I'm currently noticing from the side of AOE is Concept. He was a player that we haven't talked about all that much so far. We were kind of setting up to talk about him based on the unusual champion pools that both Concept and Niles have been operating fairly recently, but this has been a very stock standard style of champion coming out from Concept in this game, right? The Gragas is, I believe, the most played top laner for every team across the summer split. And yes, the Gragas finding a lead, is nice, but it's not likely to be enough for them to just carry the game. It is still going to be on Concept to try and be the big engager for his roster.
I will say for Concept, I want to take a little bit of time to talk more about him as a player, since, again, kind of a wacky situation for these teams to find themselves in here. Not the matchup we were expecting going into the day, but Concept is a player that he made a reputation for himself as having that strange shampoo. He played the Moondos, he played the Singe, I believe he even played Yorick in a game or two. And that is exciting when a player has a unique champion pool, but it is good to see growth. It is good to see players say, all right, I'm not just the guy that plays weird things that I know the matchup of that nobody else knows. I can also play what's just good right now. I can play for the team and get these leads against a player like Niles. Speaking of, though, he is getting targeted down. Teleport coming in. He's about to have a 4v1. Explosive Cash trying to clear out the wave as much as he can. Niles jumps in, takes out the turret, and there is more than enough damage from Maryville to clear out Concept.
I will be honest, I have to say, really dislike the lane assignments that we've seen come out from AOE over the past, like, 2 minutes, right? They swapped Concept down to the bottom side. They used his teleport in order to catch some waves there. They gave Will a slightly larger wave up in the top side, and then they swapped right on back to try and go for this bottom side of the map. While they do end up getting both neutral objectives, it is leaving them so open to giving over way too much money to Scary Jerry. He is going to get this entire turret, and while AOE are coming down here to try and drop the Rift Herald to try and go for a raise, Maryville's already faster. They're going to engage this fight.
They have called the Forge God. Niles did not use it for the dive. Okay, AOE back off. Get back was nearby. That could have been really bad for AOE.
Yeah. And all of the lead that Concept had built up for himself as the Gragas has completely evaporated from this position. Yes, Concept is not the player that you need money on, but it is more important to try and keep the Warren down than it is to get the Gragas fed. And I feel as though Maryville have come out really far ahead. You take a look at the amount of money Scary Jerry has. 2,000 gold over anybody else in the game. I'm actually
That's a gold lead for Maryville right now, by the way. 1.8k currently on the scoreboard.
I'm actually a little bit surprised that Darkwings is the number 2, but I guess he is farming quite well, and now getting jumped up.
They might even get him down. That is Emperor's Divide used defensively. Darkwings just pushing back onto Odd Orange, who has yet to find a big, insane gank other than that top lane play, which was more so the team doing everything. But still has opportunities going forward. Concept will look to push his own little bit of a lead here against Get Back. Gets a good trade onto the Ahri, who has so far had a pretty quiet game. Honestly, quiet 2 games. Even in game number 1, the Ahri was doing stuff later on, but early, Get Back does play very passive.
Yeah. I also want to go back to the Concept discussion a little bit, right? We were talking about him and his unusual champion pool, but he also has a history of playing alongside Acadian, right? They were playing together on Golden Guardians Academy last year. Of course, that team was seeing a lot of struggles, right? They had Acadian and Choose, another coach, coming in for a long period of time, and now Will does need to be careful as Odd Orange is looking for him.
Ooh, War jumps over the wall, trying to position here. Flash Dragon's Rage right onto the Ezreal. No chance to react. And guess what? There's a cat on him too. So another double kill picked up by Scary Jerry. 5-0 on Aphelios.
Yeah, that's a 2-for coming through for Scary Jerry. Is looking very scary at this spot and very likely to get this next turret as well if Maryville wants to play for it. But instead, very happy to Get Back, do his thing up in the top lane. This turret has gone so low. We're going to be giving first break over to the side of Maryville at the same time. And so I'm starting to look at this one, Steve, and while we do already have opportunities for AOE to play later, this needs to work.
Maybe Acadian can find something here. Jumps on to Get Back. The Everfrost predict right there from Get Back was kind of cute, but didn't actually land the root onto Acadian. Regardless, gets to safety.
Yeah, and we really need to start seeing those plays work. I think it's the first time Acadian has gone for anything besides one of these neutral objectives, right? Well, they've done a good job getting Rift Heralds, getting Dragons so far in this series. This Kha'Zix is not accelerated. Yes, the Umbral Glaive will help them control a little bit more vision and be a flanker, but we are still a long ways away from the rest of AOE being able to support that. And it definitely feels as though AOE, right, again, still looking for their opportunity to try and get back in this. But I also want to say, if this is your first time watching this AOE roster...
Oh!
All right, nice.
Well, that was fancy.
Yeah. If this is your first time watching this AOE roster, this is not what we should be expecting from them, right? We talked about it a couple of times with the substitutes coming through, with the play styles that we're seeing. It feels as though they are very, very defensive in the way that they have been playing, which is not how they've gotten their wins. It has been off of them playing aggressive, and this is not that.
I just hope that, you know, the spirits are still relatively high for the team. I know it's got to be a stressful situation, annoying as well, that the you're basically sacking an entire series because your AD carry has a power outage. Now they are still trying their best. Don't want to discredit the players, but I just hope that they're not, you know, at the end of this one, they can look back and laugh at it a little bit, be like, yeah, you know, we tried.
Yeah.
Hey, Will, remember that time you had to play AD carry in a stage game? That was crazy. as they look to maybe go for a dive here. Niles has called the Forge God. The turret is down. Jumps back in on the concept, looking to get the damage there. Acadian just does nothing to this Ornn, by the way. As Get Back now has joined in on the fight. Teleport joins up. Darkwings jumps in. And, oh, buffered! Billow's Breath. Doesn't actually save Niles, but it looks cool. Darkwings now keeps the damage going on to Get Back, gets charmed up.
Oh, here comes
as
Jerry.
Now Scary Jerry, the flanking of Elios with the red and the white, and he will go for it. Picks up one, picks up two, the third double kill of the game to Scary Jerry.
Yeah, wham bam, thank you ma'am. Odd Orange looking here in the mid lane as well. Might be a little bit in no man's land, but he is the Lee Sin. Hopping around the jungle from this position and might actually be able to turn things as well if he can find his way to Will, but no dice. We do not see AOE willing to chase that one down. AOE, the one still on the map. And hey, Scary Jerry, let's see, is that his third trip or third double kill?
Yes, that is his third double kill. Not
Pretty
too
cool.
shabby. And this
Pretty
is
cool.
what I was hoping for from him as well. I mean, we gave the AoE side rough situation. Hopefully they can laugh it off later on and it doesn't have too big of an impact on the standings. But for Maryville, the pressure was a little higher. I mean, as we get a look at this replay, obviously Niall survives for quite a while, but there's higher expectations if you're the team that is now going up against the team that has to do a last-second roster swap.
Yeah. I also want to point out that even though it doesn't work out, I like this idea from Darkwings, right? He doesn't instantly throw out the ultimate. He actually waits just a split second, hoping to get Niles as unstoppable, but Niles also holds his W for just long enough to actually win that mind game. But small, cool little moment, and then, you know, Scary Jerry shows up, presses Q, and 200 years is all over them. It's everywhere.
Darkwings almost killed Get Back there at the very end. I didn't even notice that during the play, but Get Back barely walks away with enough health to survive. Darkwings is getting the turret up top, though. So the Azir getting some more gold into his pocket. There we go, golf clap. Golf clap with me, everybody.
Yeah. I didn't even hear it, but you get that.
I was doing it, you know.
Got it. Are you doing it next to your mic? Sounds like something else. I'm gonna stop.
Oh, yeah, we're not gonna do that one again.
Yeah.
Concept pushes in another wave in the bot lane, as now it's all about resource gathering for AOE. Maryville in the commanding position right now, waiting for these next objectives to come up. 30 seconds for the Baron, rather.
Yep.
Would be an early Baron take, but not something that Maryville would never look for. Ooh.
Wow.
Okay, what's going to happen here? I don't think Concept will actually get back. Oh, you're committing. Well, you have a Kha'Zix coming with a cat on
Fight
top.
time.
If you can lock down
nice
Get
body
Back,
slam.
this could be huge. Oh, Acadian took a long time to get there, though. Concept doing his best to keep Get Back locked down. Spirit rushes out. Odd Orange now sees Acadian and takes absolutely 0 damage.
I'm struggling to find something to, like, give opportunities for AoE in this game at this point, right? Like, normally you say, oh, you're going to outrange people. You got the Azir, you got the Ezreal, but they haven't really come online. Acadian goes for his second attempt at 1v1, but, I mean, the Dragon's Rage comes through, and now Darkwings is getting caught.
I don't think it counts as a 1v1 when you got a cat on top of you. But yes, Darkwing's caught here. Niles does not bill his breath that one, but he bought time for Scary Jerry to come in. The real threat. Flash away. And again, the Gale Force Moonlight Vigil. Yep. Nice combo from Scary Jerry. Cool to see him pull these off. And he is running the Rift right now.
He is. I mean, he has all 9 of his team's kills,
Well,
and
that's
now
a
his
flank
teleport
from Niles.
comes through.
Okay,
That's a big
well,
Ornn.
Yeah, Scary
That's a
Jerry
lot of
goes
money.
bot, picks up double, goes top, picks up 1, runs mid. Anywhere this carry goes, we have to retreat. They do make it out this time around, despite the flanking Ornn teleport, but without Call of the Forge God, not a lot of engaged tools for Maryville. They'll instead just drop the Herald and walk it up to the turret.
And as it does Brash, it should be going down relatively shortly afterwards. Oddorns are pushing Acadian out of their own side of the jungle. Will be taking everything, and I honestly would not be surprised if Maryville starts up this Baron very shortly, right? They are completely uncontested in terms of the fights. AoE, but we've seen Concept in particular trying to make a couple of these plays on the Gragas. It hasn't actually found them anything. And Scary Jerry, I mean, once they spend this goal, will probably be on 3 items.
Acadian, I mean, honestly, AoE's getting towards the point of desperation where they just have to make things happen, and the explosive cask misses onto Niles. That is painful. They actually had a pretty good start there, chunking out the Ornn, but now Concept could be in trouble here. Odd Orange trying to stick on top of him, has the flash, Dragon's Rage available. Does he need to do it? There it is. The old insect, but wait a minute, Gonzo gets back closer to his own team. Maybe they can save him. Now he does finally go down, and call the Forge God, plus the teleport flank from Get Back will rout the rest of AOE. Acadian flashes into the wall, jumps over, blast cones to safety. The long journey to death, as he will finally get picked up by Get Back. Breezy trying to juke. Breezy trying to jive. He dodges out on the charm. One more auto. Oh, he's got the shield.
He lives.
Yeah, let's go, Breezy. Yeah!
Yeah, Breezy not dying. Coming up big. And it's still Maryville. Finally, after getting 10 kills for himself, Scary Jerry shares one with Get Back for the first time in this game. But they find themselves a very early Baron buff coming through into this one. They can go back out for the Dragon. And already 22.5 minutes into the game, Scary Jerry has 3 completed items. And remember when we were saying that maybe Will be the strongest man on the Rift when they actually get 2 completed items with the Trinity Force and the Muramana? Well, a little bit past that. Scary Jerry is just able to throw out a lot of damage at this point. Get back with a long flank, right? This is one of those moments where you actually do want someone like Arrow on your team. Arrow is so good at transitioning these winning fights and getting as many players as possible. But Maryville, they get almost everything. We also got to give some props to Breezy here for being the camp. Normally can't do jack. Actually lives by dodging out on every single ability.
Ooh, beautiful. Foxfire obviously can't dodge, but everything else, yeah, he's able to sidestep there. Dark Wings and Will did manage to get an outer mid turret for all of that. But this game is looking a little done right now, as we have a 7,000 gold lead, plus the Baron picked up by Maryville. They can walk these minions up and probably just close this game out. How much fight does AOE have left in them? As Concept does go for body slam forward, had the explosive cast, did not want to throw it out onto MU yet. Yeah. Get them under your turret, deep in your territory. There is a world where AOE can win this fight, but very, very slim margins.
Dark Rings is now on 2 items, having completed the Void Staff, and you see that Will is just not doing a whole lot of damage to the members of Maryville. Get back completely uncontested. So the only real question is, when is Maryville going to be pulling the trigger? Are they going to be going? And then, yeah, it's just right away.
Call the Forge God, engaging onto the turret. It only hits Concept. Best case scenario for AOE. The big engage tool is down, and now they can walk up and try to hit Niles, who is just tanking up a turret for about 13 seconds right there. Now Scary Jerry lands a rune onto Will. We'll turn attention back onto the front line. Concept trying to buy space for Darkwings in particular. Acadian has not found that moment to jump in to go for the big assassination. Get Back would be the target to look for, but tough to get an Ari. That charm is so annoying to deal with. Good damage from Darkwings there to start things off. The charm lands now into Concept. The tank is in trouble. Almost goes down to the Moonlight Vigil as Acadian gets chunked out as well.
And Maryville have no reason here to leave, right? Niles is the only one who even got kind of low in that last sequence, and now he's just teleporting right back on into the fight. Get Back ulting over the wall.
Spear rushes forward. And lands the charm on the Will, the snipe! Will thought he was safe on the side right there, does survive, makes it to safety. Explosive cast not quite doing enough from Concept. The Lost Chapter does a lot, actually. Last Chapter from the Yuumi, knocking people's health low, trying to lock them in place. Darkwing still has the shuffle, still has the flash. This could come down to the Azir. Big play here. If you let them walk away, though, I don't think you get a better opportunity than that, and AOE do not have the confidence to keep going forward. So Maryville will just break the base, take 2 inhibitors, and walk back to this dragon.
We got to see Darkwings do a lot of damage in that fight, but like you said, nobody goes down. You're probably not going to get a better opportunity than that. And now Maryville, they have everything they could possibly ask for. These inhibitors will be down right up until the Baron is actually spawning, and now as we're using teleports across the map, AOE trying to find themselves into unusual pockets, but they don't have a whole lot to farm out here. It is just continuing the gold lead, and again, we were really looking throughout this summer split in particular to watch how Scary Jerry can step up over the course of this season. He's the one who has been most vocal about his intention to try and go professional, to try and play in the LCS, and these are the kind of games that we need to see a little bit more of, right? I wish it was against an opponent that was playing at full strength, but this is a big confidence game and a big confidence week coming up for the Maryville squad.
Yeah, this is what had to happen for us to still look at Scary Jerry the same way of like, yep, nope, he's on that path. He's jumping there. Imagine, again, the opposite happens. Pretty rough. Game 1, obviously, I think he just was overconfident and thinking he could just take these fights. Now Concept on AOE is the one getting chunked out here.
Okay.
Got to
Wings.
half health. Darkwing's teleports. Big flank. This is the opportunity. Massive shuffle on the 2 members. Scary Jerry targeted down. Goes into stasis. Darkwing's in trouble. Scary Jerry repositions and should be just fine as my screen stutters, unfortunately, as Darkwings goes down. Didn't get to see it. It's okay. Probably didn't mean too much as the game is just going to end right there. Clean ace for Maryville. 0 for 5 and a triple kill to Scary Jerry to close it out. They will take the opportunities given to them and end their week with a 4-2 record.
Great stuff. Scary Jerry, 13-0-2. Wish you had him on your fantasy league draft at this point, I have to imagine. But still a good performance out from Maryville. We were saying that they really needed to find these wins here against AOE while they are playing for a sub. They do just that in relatively clean fashion overall. And now Maryville will be advancing as they do go 4-2 on the week. They said that they were hoping for 3-3. This is absolutely outperforming expectations.
And if this was full power to AOE, I would have actually leaned towards them getting that 1-1. I think that they had what it takes to take down AOE at full strength. Maybe not in 2-0, definitely not in that fashion. But Maryville are off to a good start, or rather reversing their fortunes from a rough start in week 1. So cool to see right there. But we will be sent into a short break before we're back with Sierra, who's interviewing one of the winning members from Maryville. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, League fans, to our Verizon post-game interview. I have Zyko here to talk a little bit more about that 2-0. I know that y'all were wanting to go at least even for week 2. You end up going positive. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling a lot better, and than like last week when we went 1-5. So seeing that we can actually get games off these teams feels really nice this week.
It was definitely nice to see. So it was, even though it was a little bit of a slow start to the split, do you think it's just, you know, getting the rust off in the Rift, or is there something that's like, okay, we know we need to improve this going on forward that you've managed to make an active stride on?
So for the first week, we only had 1 day of practice going into NACL, especially on a new patch as well. So we were trying to figure out like what's good, what's not, and unfortunately it didn't go so well, especially after like the mental thing after what happened from CeeLo. So so after that first week, we kind of had a talk about like what our goals were for NACL, whether we're gonna try really hard or whether or not we're just gonna like lay back and relax. But all of us seem to be really focused on trying to be the best in NACL too, so that's our main goal so far.
Awesome to hear. And I definitely know with the players on the team that there's different aspirations, a couple wanting to go pro, a couple not so much, just helping everyone out. I want to know where about you are aligned on that and kind of what your aspirations are and what goal you have in mind for the future.
Yeah. I'm sort of like Jerry, where we're both trying our best to get looked at, try to go pro if possible, and if not, then just finish our 4 years here, try to get our degree. So that's kind of the fallback if we don't get picked up.
And then with these aspirations to go pro and making challengers this year, how has your challengers experience been so far going up against, because especially with the week 1, yeah, maybe it wasn't necessarily the record you wanted, but you went up against some really good teams and really good players.
Oh, it's definitely a little bit more difficult than when we were like practicing against and going against like the NACLQ teams. But really enough, practice this week has gone really well, especially against like all these like top teams, which were like really surprising. So I really have high hopes for us going forward from that.
I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see how that pans out, especially with Maryville having really storied history and the successes of the team. So the last couple of questions, we'll keep this light and breezy, and we actually asked to Twitch chat to see if they had any questions that they had for you. So our first one is coming out from Kind Jungle, and it's actually funny because you're talking about beforehand that there was discussion about dinner plans, but Kind Jungle wants to know, what do you want for dinner?
what do I want? I love Korean food because I'm Korean myself. So, but it's kind of scarce here. Like the amount of Korean food out here in Missouri. So, it's tough.
I also I live in the middle of nowhere, so I feel that with like the scarce good food. I can go and get some bar food. I can't really go get much else.
Right.
Our last and final question of the interview. This one is coming out from Elpino, and I'd air just for this, asking, "How is Zygo so handsome and talented?"
Genetic stuff, I would say. Just genetically built like this.
Just built different.
So, yeah, I would say so.
Thank you for your time, Zygo. I hope you enjoyed dinner and time with the team. Before I let you go, do you have any final words for Twitch chat? Any shout outs?
Thank you for watching our games, and for those that supported us for any of our matches, shout out to the Ville, love it here, and the boys for trying their hardest. And
I'm just saying, hi, Jenna. Hey.
shout out to Nate's girlfriend as well, Jenna.
You gotta get
Big
the Jenna
supporter.
shout out. Gotta just waiting by for
supporter.
that. That's awesome. Enjoy dinner, Zygo. Thank you so much. Congrats again on the win, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. For us, just our first series, we have a lot more League of Legends. Next up, it's going to be Team Fish Taco going up against Team Liquid Challengers, the top team that we have here in Challengers so far. So you're not going to want to miss it. Be back here soon.